Hi, I am Tom Chick, recording later than normal. I wanted to keep the polls open as long as I could today. It is March 27th, 2020, and the date has already been crossed off because once again, this is my second take. Now this time I did remember to turn the mic on. I just accidentally deleted the recording. Nice work, Tom. So I'm not going to delete this one. Let's see, before we go over to the dining room table and determine the winner amongst 3 games for which one will be set up on the table, I want to bring up a conversation I had yesterday about using reusable bags at the supermarket and how there may be unique risks with that. And one of the things that I mentioned is that I would be really bummed if I couldn't use my reusable grocery bags because, and I promised to show this, I have here my friend Sharon, who I think watches these. Hi, Sharon. Gave me this. I just want you to see. She works at JPL on the Curiosity team. You'll note she even autographed it. Now, she did this somewhat facetiously, but I think it's worthy of an autograph. JPL, they've been working from home for, I guess, about 10 days, as long as most other folks. Sharon, earlier this week, and I want you to think about this, from her home, she drilled a hole in Mars. Just consider that. That's mind-blowing to me. That's staggering. So yes, of course, someone who does that should autograph a reusable shopping bag. Incidentally, I did the same thing myself. I drilled a hole in Mars from my home in Doom Eternal earlier today. That's a true story. Let's go over to the dining room table. Let's see what won the vote. And I apologize in advance. I'm going to rant a little bit after that. Here we go. Okay, set up on the table here is a game that I'll talk about in a minute, but let's do the exciting stuff first. These are the 3 games that are up for consideration. Reign of Cthulhu, Aftermath, and Gaia Project. We actually, okay, so let me see. It's a little surprised there were like 50 votes for it. Oh, no wonder I can't see it. Hold on a second. This is going disastrously. All right. Okay, here we have, 45, well, let me refresh this. 45 votes at this point. For,
Hi, I'm
oh God,
Chick.
oh God.
March 26th.
Oh, make him stop talking. We have, 45 votes. I'm going to use randomresult.com here on my iPad to randomly pick a number, and then we're going to laboriously count down the list of comments to see who won. Now, a procedural note, I think a couple of these comments are not votes, so rather than weed them out, if one of those comes up, we'll just re-roll. Okay, here we go. We are going to the, please be like a low number to make it, oh, here we go, the 24th comment. So, starting with, okay, oh, this is exciting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Hey, there's Sharon. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Refreshing 21, 22, 23. Hazy Silhouette. I am ready to cheer for the animals to win, he writes. So, Aftermath, I guess. Not sure if I'm expecting it to be like Tokyo Jungle, Mutant Year Zero, or Untitled Goose Game. Hazy Silhouette? Well, let's find out. I hope I counted that right. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the math checks out. All right, so Aftermath will be set up on the table for tomorrow's recording. For today's record, and by the way, congratulations to Aftermath. Sorry, Gaia Project, you'll get your chance later. Sorry, Reign of Cthulhu, you as well. I still haven't played this yet. Tune in tomorrow for some of this. Now, because we're recording later than normal, I'm feeling a little bit crazy. I'm gonna have a beer. And so I didn't even think of this. Also, my friend Sharon brought me these. Oh, golly, okay, here we go. And you hard pour these. My friend Alex introduced me to these, and you can do this with this beer. Don't try this with other beers. All right, this game here that's set up on the table, I don't like. It's a bit of a spoiler. And I don't want to be a jerk here, but I feel kind of strongly about some of the things that it does. Rather than actually play it, I've got it set up here. I want to show you, if you were to play a solitaire game of this, and actually if you were to play it multiplayer with other people as well, although frankly I'm not sure there's any reason to. There's not a lot of player interaction. But if you were to play this solitaire, I want to show you 3 things that would catch you up very early on in playing this that should not exist. Let me just chill out with a little beer for a moment before I get angry. Oh my golly, that's good stuff. Here's a weird thing. When you grow this weird facial hair like I do, drinking something with foam is a really weird experience. All right. Yeah. And by the way, I was going to apologize for my facial hair, but you know what? Never mind. Okay, here's the deal. Let's play this solitaire. This should be a cute, breezy, sort of snappy game about rolling up a character. Like making a character's career. These 3 decks over here, I don't know, let's see, is this on camera? This deck here is your origin. This deck here is your motivation. This deck here, your destiny. What you do when you start a game is you draw 2 of each. Your possible origins, an apprentice or a farmer. Possible motivations, conscript or pickpocket. Possible destinies, wise master or paragon of light. You choose one of each, and then it gets set up on your little board right here. And then you go through Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 of your character's life. If you're playing an American, you take this deck out. Was it too obscure? Little F. Scott Fitzgerald reference. You put these, you make a row of these cards face up. Oh my God, I'm drunk. You make a row of these cards face up, and then you throw, and I promise what I'm about to say is not because I'm drunk, it's an actual thing. Then you throw 2-sided dice to determine whether or not you've met the challenge. These things here, can you see, they're runes, and they have different symbols on them, and you shake up the runes and you cast them. Like, watch this. There, that right there, that's a 5. Seriously, I don't know if you can tell, that's a 5. I didn't make that up, that's true. I don't have a problem with the runes. The runes are actually kind of cool. And for the mathematically challenged like myself, it makes it a lot easier to calculate the odds. The fewer faces on a die, the easier it is for me to understand it. So I don't have a problem with the runes. I kind of like that. I also don't have a problem. Look at the artwork. I mean, is any of these good? Yeah. Like, look at the pickpocket there. I think that's a lovely bit of artwork. And a lot of this has really cool artwork. I actually should have fished out some samples. So you go through, and for each of the acts, you will assemble, these are terrible examples, 3 cards, 3 acts, 3 cards, and a challenge. It's written on the side. This is the Thieves Guild. If this were dealt, I would have to resolve the Thieves Guild. On one side, I can train as a spy. The other side, I can train as a killer. And there are icons here that tell you what runes you need for which challenges. So I would then tuck this under here, and I would assemble a little panel for my character's origin, motivation, and destiny. Like right here, if this played out, I would be an apprentice who was rebellious and trained as a spy and then climbed to safety. What is climb to safety? Oh, something about a missing person. I could have either found a lost child or climbed to safety. In this arrangement here, I climbed to safety. And then you do this for each of the acts and each of the characters' origin, motivation, and destiny. You assemble a small story with interesting, now look at the foundling, for instance. Look at that, that's lovely artwork. You assemble a small story with interesting bits of artwork and evocative enough titles. Here you go, Lost in the Woods. Do you escape your pursuers or do you find a place of power? All right, so far so good. It looks simple, it looks easy. It looks like after you have played, you would have a nice, gratifying little narrative spread out here. Sure, it's randomly assembled. This is very intuitive. These runes are, watch this, I actually had no problem memorizing these icons. Strength, dexterity, constitution, are you with me? Intelligence, wisdom, let's all say it together, charisma. It's the basic stats that we all know. When you play multiplayer, it's kind of a race game. Whoever fills up his or her lifespan first, the game ends, and then we all score and see who got the most points. Points can be triumph and tragedy. They can be earned with this little corruption scale. These little things here are that's experience points. Looks like a ruby to me. And then whoever has the most points won, but everybody gets a little story. So, because there's not a lot of player interaction, and because it should be a quick, breezy little game, perfect for solitaire, right? Right? Well, let's find out. Call to Adventure. Oh, and by the way, this is so nitpicky. You know what? I'm a writer. I can do this. The name of this, Call to Adventure. The name, hold on, just a second. Adventure. Over here, adventure. That was me calling to adventure. It's not called to adventure. It's like Call of the Wild or Call of the Sea, Call of Duty for Pete's sake, Call of Adventure, Call to Adventure. I was going to feel bad about bringing that up if this game had been made by, say, Eastern Europeans or something, but the folks who made it, those are not Eastern Europeans. At any rate, okay, that's dumb. That's not one of my substantive complaints. I have 3 complaints. When you set up a solitaire game, here are things called adversaries, and they are, of course, adversaries. You're a mad cultist, a wolf, a crime lord, a sorceress, a tyrant. You draw one of these. Comes with a little challenge. Like you have this, and then you look up the warlock. You bring out a special card for that adversary, and then you bring out the adversary, him or herself, and you make a little arrangement like this. So this goes under here. Here are the adversary's special powers, and then here are, should do it like that for the artwork. And then here are the general powers that always are in effect during a solitaire game. Very straightforward. And what I'm going to do in this game is play the 3 cards that I get for my origin, the 3 cards for my motivation, and then 2 of the cards for my destiny. The 3rd card for my destiny will always be this adversary right here. So when I am dealing these 2 options at the beginning of the game, am I an apprentice or am I a pickpocket? Am I going for Paragon of Light or, what was the other one? Wise Master. Yeah, Wise Master. Farmer and conscript. Anyway, when I deal these out and I look at 2 cards for each slot, those cards are important. They determine what stats I start out with. They determine what special abilities I can access during the game. So naturally, here's an important question that I'm sure the setup instructions would resolve. Do I deal out the adversary first? Or do I choose amongst the cards one of 2 cards for each slot first? Those answers are very different from each other. If I choose the adversary first, naturally these choices will be informed by what I know is coming. If, however, the game is built where I'm not supposed to know this, and I'm supposed to work my way towards this, I flip it up before the game begins, but I've already decided who my character is, that's very different. So let's check the rules, although we don't have to, because I will tell you right now, there is nothing in the rules that answers that question. There is the setup for the regular game. Pretty straightforward, setting up the game right there. Then, and this isn't unusual, you see this in a lot of rules, here is the variant for solitaire, which says, prepare a solo or co-op game, preparing a solo or co-op game follows typical game rules with the following exceptions. And then it just explains this right here, with no mention of where it fits into the choices that you're making when you set up your character. I just slammed to the table. That's how angry I am. So right away, in the setup, there is an issue here. And I'm not just picking on solitaire mode. There are issues like this in the multiplayer as well. It's just that right off the bat, the moment you sit down to play a solitaire game, what do I do? Chris and Bob O'Neill, what are their names? Chris and Johnny O'Neill have not told me how to set up the game. How do they not? All right. So you decide. You make it up yourself. And not, go to Board Game Geek. I don't think it's on there as well. Nobody's asked them. Nobody's answered this. So right away, before you're even playing, there's that issue. Let's then look at another thing that you do in solitaire. These are hero cards. These are anti-hero cards. When you play solitaire, to represent the machinations, the scheming of your adversary, you pull out specific anti-hero cards. Basically, these help you, these hurt someone else. You pull out specific anti-hero cards and you make a small deck here and you shuffle it. And on a certain rune result, whenever this comes up, when you cast runes, here, you then draw one of these cards and you resolve it as if the adversary were playing it against you. And that is an interesting idea. I like it. Reserve some of these take that cards for the adversary, the AI, to inflict on you. Good idea. I like it. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip of beer. Oh, very smooth. So you've got this set up. You've decided, okay, I'm going to show the adversary before I make my choices. I guarantee you that's how most people probably do it. Then you're playing the game, and you roll one of these on the two-sided dice. You flip this up and you resolve it. You're asking for trouble. I don't think there's a single one of these, maybe one of them. Every single one of these cards raises questions in terms of how it is actually implemented in the game. Mainly, their timing issues. But there is no way that anyone sits down to play this game solitaire and resolves one of the adversary's anti-hero cards without having to decide or go to Board Game Geek and search, and often not find answers, how to actually implement the freaking card. This is basic design work. If you make a game and you then, and this isn't even a matter of adapting it for solitaire, because again, in the multiplayer version, issues like this constantly come up. If you make a game, and especially a game that should be light and breezy like this, and you then stop the player so that he or she has to wonder how something works every so often because you couldn't be arsed. That is such a forced contrivance of mine. Because you couldn't be bothered, I'm not British, because you couldn't be bothered to write it in your rules book, you have not done your job. I paid you $40 for Call to Adventure. Where's this box? I paid you, I don't need the box top for a prop. I paid you $40 for this. You didn't do your job. You did not do the work required. You designed a game, sure, but what you didn't do is communicate how that design works to me. You know, it's like if you built a car. Here we go. Contrived automobile references or analogies. The only thing worse are contrived like food analogies. It's like you built a car and you didn't make a steering wheel for it. Right, okay, that doesn't quite work. My thinking is the steering wheel is the interface between you and the car, and the rule book is, you know what, never mind. You know what I'm getting at. So they haven't done their work on this game, which is just, it drives me batty. Because like I said, I like what they're going for. I love the idea of it. I approve of this concept for how the adversary works. I just want to show you one more thing, because I promised there would be 3 things. All right, so you're playing the game. You have here, all right, these are different. You have here these 4 cards face up. You've got your character, even if you're not playing solitaire, and you don't like any of these cards. That can happen. You know, none of them is really good for what you're trying to do. So you can do something in this game called, I don't know why they call it this, but you know what, this kind of works. You can do something called journeying. And you have these little experience things here, and they power certain abilities in the game. I don't need to show you. But one of the things you can do with an experience is discard it and do what's called journey, which means discard one of the cards and draw a new one. It's a terrible example. There you go, and draw a new one. Good, I like it. These are hard to come by. They are an important resource. They're each a victory point at the end of the game as well. And it lets you mitigate some of the randomness. In a game like this, that can be very helpful. So let me then show you one card. Oh, good Lord, am I gonna, here we go. Oh, let me show you the Lone Wanderer. And by the way, once again, decent artwork. Look at the Lone Wanderer's power. The first time you journey each turn, you don't have to pay the experience. Good, right? That seems like a solid power. So if I had these 3 right here, and I really didn't like anything, I could, for free, discard that and draw a new one. Let's say I don't like any of the new one either. Discard that, and I'm paying one of these each time. The first time is free with this card. Let me then show you in the rules how journey works. See here under other action, where it explains the journey. The journey power says once per turn, you may spend experience points to discard one card on the table and replace it with another card from the same deck. Once per turn, huh? Then why is this referencing the first time each turn? Can I do this multiple turns or not? Is the card right? And actually the card doesn't specifically say, but the card very clearly implies if the people who made this game had done the work, this would not be a question in my mind. Can I journey multiple times? I look it up, no, I can't. Only once per turn. So this card just makes it free? Then why is it saying the first time? Because when you say the first time, that implies there is a second time, there is a third time. Maybe, and I know what you're thinking, maybe you're not thinking this, but what I thought, oh, maybe there's a power in the game that lets you journey multiple times. Okay, in that case, the Lone Wanderer would be especially useful with it. It would be like a strong combo, a synergy that might come up. It might even somehow be thematic. You know, Lone Wanderer's sidekick or whatever. I went through every single one of these cards. There is no such card in the game. There is nothing in the game that somehow subverts this rule in the manual, in the rules book, of journeying once a turn. So again, why when I'm playing this game and I draw this card, are you, the developers of the game, Chris and Johnny O'Neill, I don't mean to make this personal, by the way, the folks who made Call to Adventure, Why are you making me stop and wonder when I pull this card? So this is what I call, and I apologize for how harsh this sounds, but I play enough board games that I hope you can understand what I'm getting at with this. This is what I call design trash. It's just not worth attempting. The experience that you get from it is not worth the frustration of dealing with folks who have not done their job, who have not done the work that they're paid for. So, oh my God, Tom, settle down. That is Call to Adventure. I don't like it. I apologize too for getting so worked up. I have to admit, some of this getting worked up is intentionally theatrical, but I do feel strongly about designers and the usually fantastic, amazing, sometimes almost magical work they can do in creating experiences for us. So I find it really frustrating when I can see on the other side of the mistakes, on the other side of the work that's not done, I can see something that I would have enjoyed. And that's the case with Call to Adventure. All right, oh my God. So that was that. Come on back tomorrow and let me show you a game that I like, although I do have some similar frustrations with it, called Aftermath, and we'll set that up. It'll be the weekend. You know what, I might not even get dressed. I might even be in my robe. It's the weekend. I hope everyone is doing well. Take care of yourselves, of course. Stay safe. Keep yourselves healthy. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy Friday, by the way. I'm going to go finish this beer now. Cheers. Oh, shoot a monkey. Ugh.